Perhaps me being roommateless for the remainder of this semester isn't that negative of an outcome for me, is it, Moxie? At the very least, it protects me from judgment for being too formal of a gentleman. And you know what else? It allows me to catch up on some shows that I've been meaning to take a closer look at.
Huh? Since when was this in my Google Drive? I don't remember ever acquiring this. What's the deal with that? Let me check my phone. Oh, of course Sir Kako was the one who sent this to me. What is this specimen trying to do? Get me in trouble? Well, I suppose I'll give it a shot.
Oh my. Yep, I'm reviewing this. Now!
Salutations, Homo sapiens. It seems today that I have been graced with, halt for a moment. This camera is panned far too up. Oh, goodness gracious, I'm not even in the frame. I better fix that. Ah, that's better. But I've had that camera in the same position every video. Does that mean you aren't able to see me in any of the videos? Oh my word, what a novice mistake. I would never normally make such an error. Well, I suppose I better just correct it and move on. So, it seems today that I have been graced with a Google Drive folder holding a particular Mexican cartoon for me to watch, so I might as well accept the offer. If not solely due to one character. So, Cartoon Network. You've heard of it, right? It's a channel started in 1992 that fell from grace, like a decade ago, and nobody really discusses it anymore unless they're obsessed with animation, I suppose. Sometimes, animation networks will pick up cartoons from other nations for a domestic release in the United States, and 2021's Villainous, or Villainous if we want to be faithful to the original language, is no exception. This series started as a short-form animation series in May of 2017, airing through the Latin American division of CN on YouTube. Created by one Sir Alan Ituriel, the series would eventually receive a full-length 11-minute pilot in 2019, and then in 2021, 5 more full episodes would complete an official season 1, with the pilot itself marking the 6th, or 1st technically. You get the idea. It hasn't received a second season since, which I find quite unfortunate, but you can't have it all, can you? For this video, I won't be discussing the shorts, even though they are the origin point, because everyone knows that long-form content is the way to go. The focus will be primarily on the 6 episodes of Season 1, since they deliver the most substance. And, you know, because that's what Sir Kako sent me, so I don't have much of a say in the matter anyway. Alas, we shall commence with a surface-level explanation of what Villainous is all about, then we can look at each of the 6 episodes. I think that should be fair enough, right? So, the best place to start is with the core premise of Villainous. Ironically, it's comparable to that of the premise for another series I've already discussed, Hell of a Boss. Well, when that series had a premise outside of shipping. Anywho, the series centers around the Black Hat organization, led by the character of the same name, which is essentially a group of antagonists who are tasked with overtaking the various heroes in their world upon the request of a fellow villain. The heroes are the antagonists here, which is uncharacteristic of a children's animation, so I appreciate this creative choice. Each of the 6 episodes is about the organization's quest to defeat a different hero, making each episode its own fully contained little arc. As far as I'm aware, the series is merely episodic in nature, so no context is lost from episode to episode. Yes, I am intentionally making Hell of a Boss comparisons because that series has quite frankly become a shitfest at this point. I think even Miss Vivian Pop can recognize that. You know what you did! That's all this series is really about. A group of villains hired to trump the heroes. A simple and intriguing concept for a children's series I certainly approve. Well, not of being a villain, just the premise of the show. Black Hat Organization houses 4 core members, our main 4 protagonists. Black Hat is our main sir, who happens to be voiced by the creator, Sir Ituriel himself, in both the Spanish and English versions of the show. We appreciate that. He's a no-nonsense and rather powerful villain, shown to have special abilities that his subordinates don't. Basically, his entire character is to get the job done and move on to the next one. Truly an honorable businessman at heart, just not in the most honorable of professions. And he could lose the arrogance too. Then there's Dr. Kenning Flugsleys. What kind of name is that? No offense, of course, but he's simply known as Dr. Flug throughout the show. He functions as the durotagonist, and he's especially important to the development of the narrative in each episode. Not too sure why he wears the paper bag on his head. I suppose he's not too confident with his face, but as a a person, he's actually quite relatable to me. A generally kind-hearted and often insecure gentleman who is clearly very knowledgeable when it comes to science. He also happens to be quite the suck-up to Sir Hat, and does everything he can specifically to seek Hat's approval, though seldom does he receive it. He's probably my favorite of the four from a trait perspective. One could even refer to him as nerdy, which is something I am most definitely not. No, knowing what L'Hôpital's rule is does not make me a nerd. Also part of the organization is 505, a failed experiment that, for whatever reason, they never seem to figure out how to erase, so now it exists as a liability. It's not very villainous, despite the original intention, and it instead opts to give a lot of hugs. Yeah, alright, fair enough. Who voices this silly bear anyway? Mr. Mark Fischbach. Sounds like your ordinary voice actor, and it's fucking Markiplier. How they were able to get to secure him, I'll never fully comprehend. Good for them, though. Last but not least, and I mean absolutely not least, there's this madam. Dementia. Yes, she's named after a memory loss condition, but don't even worry about that. Dementia is a very sporadic, very intense, very attractive, devious lady. She wears a lizard hoodie and can even appear as one due to her hair color. She can climb on walls. She's apparently supernaturally strong. Oh crud, I can't be losing my mind over a lady who doesn't even exist in the real world.
Look at him. He's so vile, so evil. So, are we leaving our cute boss alone again?
Wait, what do you mean she's in love with Black Hat? To the point of obsession? It was supposed to be me! Okay, now that's just plainly unnecessary. These four make up the primary cast of Villainous, and any other characters are either the heroes or minor supplements to this group. There's not much else for me to add in this regard, or else I will either start rambling over absolutely nothing, or continue to express my attraction to the chaotic lizard woman. So I suppose I can jump into the episodes now. Let us commence. Episode 1 of the official Villainous season is the 2019 pilot, known as The Dreadful Dawn. Produced before any of the other episodes, this one is the most standard. BHO is hired to take down this hero named Sunblast, who is essentially the fraternity boy who never actually matured, and Dr. Flug creates a plan that falls apart due to, who else? Dementia. That's what happens when someone who sleeps in a literal insane chamber works at your business, and someone that hot. Flug is very much like Moxie, to the point where they even have similar inflections, and their purpose to the story of each is quite aligned. Here we see just how precise Flug tries to be, micromanaging his other two teammates, specifically forbidding Dementia from helping.
Dementia? You sit and do nothing.
All to prove his worth to Sir Hat. Sounds a lot like our Sir from the previously mentioned show, doesn't it?
Moxie, look, we've discovered your human counterpart.
What a nerd.
Well, that's not very respectful.
I'm a fucking demon. Do you expect me to be respectful?
There's no winning against you now, is there?
Nope.
This episode is primarily about Flug being unable to successfully execute a mission, and when it seems that all has failed, he comes to a realization that he should instead focus on 505 and Dementia's own abilities, not what he wants them to do, and only then are they able to capture Sunblast and turn him into a fucking light bulb? Good lord. First Sir Awada becomes butter, now this. This episode is relatively simple, all things considered, yet I enjoyed it quite a bit. A fitting introduction to the show's premise and characters for those who haven't seen the shorts like myself.
He said Penumbra and Black Hat make a cute couple.
Oh, if only I had a madam who was that protective of my dignity. Episode 2 is titled Bulldozing. If not apparent from the fact that this contains the term boo in it, it's a horror-themed episode where the hero, known as the Bulldozer, is attempting to destroy a haunted mansion that not only do ghosts consider home, but is in and of itself sentient. Of course the hero's name is Bulldozer and the episode is named Bulldozing, because comedic pun moment. It also has 5,401 rooms, and Flug almost swears while cycling through them apparently.
This is Bulldozer!
I mean, it's not like we're prohibited from saying bullshit, are we? Oh, right. Bulldozer's gimmick is that he's apparently not afraid of anything, making the threat of demolition a very genuine concern for this mansion. That is, until he sees 505. Flug believes that he's way too cutesy to do any good for this particular mission, but it's the opposite that turns out to be true, as Bulldozer had been bitten by a bear in the past, causing him to lose a hand, so he essentially has a trauma response and backs out last second. At least Sheriff Fishbach was able to get this victory in. This was a fun episode, even though I really don't care for horror for practically the same reasons as I had expressed in my Halloween rant, and admittedly, it managed to get more chuckles out of me than I did during my laughing challenge. Not a very high bar to cross, but the constant cutaways were amusing. This one is my personal favorite. That poor feline succumbing to the hands of, well, not even a hand. The Scooby-Doo reference during the cold open is also much appreciated, of course. Overall, a solid showing.
Where's Black Cat?
He's mine!
Why don't I ever receive such possessiveness from my Episode 3, the VVV?
Mommy, it's Fluggy. I promise I'm going to be good.
Oh, okay, Flug. Interesting sleep talk. This one is a really unique episode. The organization is requested to take down this man, El Valiente, who is introduced as a wrestling prodigy. Sir Hat is way too far above anyone else to fight him directly, so instead he orders Dementia to... Holy shit. As if this lady could not get any more attractive, they sent her out looking like that? Dear lord, I have Homo sapiens watching this. You cannot have me in such a personal predicament at this hour, especially now that they can see me. Anywho, I'll try not to get too distracted. She's able to defeat El Valiente in a matter of 60 seconds, and we learn that it's actually the mask that's evil, not the sir behind it. What is this, chromacopia? The mask then takes control of Dementia, and she just starts destroying everyone, including Dr. Flug.
You're the Jesse to my Jayden!
Get it together, Sir Jaypee. The unprofessional comments towards this madam are not very righteous behavior of you, and you're on video right now. Just keep your cool.
What's the matter? You think Dementia is sexy? You want to get crushed between her thighs like Dr. Flug is? Do you want her to you to the bed and your until you her
Moxie! What the is wrong with you?
Knew it, dude. You're weird like that.
Good episode though. I particularly really like the twist about the client actually being El Valiente's wife. It's really amusing to see how quickly Dementia immediately removes the mask after being instructed by Sir Hat, and... Oh, come on, what is this insult to injury? Alright, I will attempt to venture forth without any more awkward Dementia moments getting in our way. This next episode is titled Satellite Secrets, and it's about a villain named Virus who is attempting to leak the finale of an in-universe series, which just so happens to be Flug's hyperfixation, to the internet before it airs. Hey, this has to be the most realistic episode yet, right? There's honestly not much to say about this one. I think the most notable gag here is that Sir Hat can manipulate TV programming.
It's not me! Run, children! Save yourselves!
That's actually pretty useful. Imagine if we could do that in our own world. I'd probably use it to watch X's and O's and completely kill off the shark f***er so that the entire episode just did not happen.
And there's my husband, Lord Blackhead! Hello, my love, up here!
How the hell did he see her from that far away? Is that not scientifically impossible? Can Flug explain how the light travels that far? And he gets spoiled anyway. What a waste of a day for that poor gentleman. And Dementia eats a f***ing plushie, because of course she does.
Don't think about it.
I'm kidding!
2 more to go. The penultimate episode of this season is known as BH's Bizarre Bad Adventure, clearly a reference to the anime of a similar title, Pokemon. The organization finds out that they are being impersonated via dumbbells that just randomly crash through the walls, and Dementia can lift them with no issues. I myself can relate to the idea of impersonation quite a bit as well, that's not a tale for you Homo sapiens to know about just yet. Anywho, not only are they having their work stolen, but it's being stolen by a group of bodybuilders. Look, I'm sure that's attractive to some. For f***'s sake, Dementia, but I'm just not terribly into that sort of stature. That's why I myself have elected to not appear this way, although admittedly it's also because I'm too afraid, distinguished, to bother. You'd think that our main team wouldn't stand a chance, but Bootleg Dementia falls to the flower on 505's head, Bootleg 505 is literally just a cactus, and Bootleg Flug loses as a result of Dementia's flirting?
Let's dance, big guy.
Why, don't mind if I do, madam, but you should not speak such provocative words in the presence of this audience. There are certainly some strange occurrences in this episode, and it might honestly be my least favorite of the 6, but still made for some funny moments. My favorite gag is 505 attempting to hug the bootleg version of himself, getting hurt, and doing it again. Poor Sir Fishbach. To end it all off, the final episode of this season is The Hideous Heart. It's also the longest by an extra minute or so, and does introduce actual implications of, yes, lore. The antagonist of this episode is Miss Heed. Oh no. First dementia, now this lady? What is this show, Hot Chick Heaven?
The Sonic universe might also be classified as Hot Chick Heaven.
Fair enough, that does sound rather ridiculous. So, she's a social media influencer who steals the heart of anyone she sees at a moment's notice with this special kiss of hers. Except for dementia, she's immune thankfully. She even gets Flug under her control for a brief moment until he breaks out of it and uses the power of the live stream to end her reign. Truly something we'd see in the real world, don't you think? We actually learn that Flug knew who Miss Heed was before this, by the name of Cecilia, and we also learn that he used to be the archenemy of a hero named Goldheart. If this series were to get another season, this plotline would be a great one to expand on, but as Sir Congo likes to tell me, it is what it is. Ignoring the fact that Miss Heed is... yes. Oh lord, stop emphasizing her behind so much. It was a good episode, and probably the most story-driven of the season, outside of the VVV. Why is Blossom here? She's a little girl! I suppose this hereby concludes my brief retrospective of Season 1 of Villainous. As you may know, I have never declared to be an expert in media analysis, especially not for animation, so there are probably many things that went way over my head that I could have spoken more about. Alas, I think it is a very solid little group of episodes, one solid enough to earn a 10 out of 13. I have made a number of comparisons to Hell of a Boss throughout this one, and it's genuinely because this feels like a better and more cohesive version of that show. Ironic how a children's show does the murder for hire story more efficiently, albeit not exactly murder, than one for the adults. This is what you receive when you stick to your plotline and don't stray away from the very story you pitch to your team and your audience.
Hey, our show isn't that bad.
Moxie, it's losing sight of itself, and you know it.
You're losing sight of yourself.
You are very lucky I am too much of a gentleman to throw you right now.
Not much particularly happens from episode to episode in this series, but that's what makes it special. It's a fun cartoon to check out when you're bored. My personal favorite episode is probably the VVV, as it has the most compelling storyline in my opinion, and dementia is dementia. Well, I suppose I'll have to thank Sir Kako for sending me this, so I better get to that momentarily. In the meantime, now that you lovely Homo sapiens can actually see me when I'm speaking, I can fully profess my desire for you all to enjoy yourselves.